Everyone, Craig Williams here, back with another video. In this video I'm going to further talk about more on Sylenth. In the last video we talked a bit about the oscillators and the voices and stuff like that. In this one we're going to cover the envelopes and the filter sections. So before I get too sort of in depth in what's going on with the filters and envelopes, I thought I'd just go back and talk about the signal flow through the synthesizer, so you guys can get a sort of a better understanding on what's actually going on with the sound and how it starts and then how it travels through the synthesizer, and then how you end up with the sound coming out of your headphones or your speakers or whatnot. So obviously the sound starts at the oscillators. We start with the voices and picking the waveform and whatnot. From there it goes to the filter section. So it goes into the filters, and obviously each filter can be individually controlled with the cutoff and all that sort of stuff. But then the overriding, which is sort of a parallel to the filter control, is the filter A and filter B is the filter control. So this is like an overriding control for both the filter A and B, and that controls them at the same time. From there, it goes into the amp envelopes, and from the amp envelope it goes into the mixer. From the mixer it goes into the master effects, and then the sound travels out. So hopefully you guys, if you wanted to see the diagram, it's up on the Sylenth in the manual, and it gives you a nice little diagram of how everything's traveling through the synthesizer. So if something's not working or you're not generating a sound, you can sort of go back and step through and see where the sound might be going wrong. Okay, so next up we'll talk about the filters. So we have both filter A and filter B, same as oscillators part A and oscillators part B. Each of the filters has an input selector, so you can select if you want part A and B, or nothing at all. So for this we're going to go to part A. It has a filter type, so from here you can choose, this is a bypass, you can choose a low pass, band pass, or a high pass, and it's, again, as I've selected the waveforms, it's just a click and drag to select the different types. Next up you've got a cutoff, so that's obviously what frequency. It's like a frequency selector sort of thing, and depending on what filter you've got, so if we got a low pass and we click that, it's letting in everything below. So as we open it up, it's showing you the frequency that this is sort of like a frequency indicator. Next up you've got the resonance, so that's just sort of it's kind of like the knee on a compressor. You can, if you have a high resonance, you can get some cool effects, and you can actually make it sort of self-oscillate on itself. And then you have the drive. This is not necessarily on a lot of synths, but it's a good little tool to use. If you use it right, you can create some nice high harmonics to create a more full sound. So if you've just got lots sitting in sort of the low frequencies, you can add some drive to it to help give it a little bit of distortion to try and give the sound a bit more of a fullness, if you will. Over here we have the slope of the filter. So as you can see, it's 24 dB or 12 dB, and that's just the slope at which the filter kicks in. So that's pretty much about it. It's both A and B exactly the same. So there you go. And then obviously we've got the filter control. It has the same cutoff and resonance, again the same as what the part A has, but then it's also got this key track. So the key track will follow as you play keys in the higher register or in the very low register, the filter will sort of follow with that, so you get the same amount of filtering throughout, whereas if you have less of it, the higher notes might come through or the lower notes might come through. It's not necessarily following. Good little indication. A really good sense to see what's going on is the Dcam Strobe. It shows you exactly what the where the filter sits. So we can I can just sort of show you now. So we put a low pass. We can see it's exactly the same there. Just it sort of lets through a little bit more, but it's all at the same rate. Hopefully I'm sort of describing that right. If anyone can maybe type it out a little bit better in a comment, feel free to do so. I'm not an expert on this, but I'm sort of just trying to share my knowledge, so hopefully you guys can pick up something. And then lastly, we've got the warm drive, and this acts pretty much the same as the drive up here. It again adds, it's just a bit more of a high quality, it's kind of like a distortion that adds high harmonics to your sound and can create something, give it a little bit more body and make it sound a little bit better. That's about it for that one. If you've got any further questions, feel free to drop us a line. In the next video, we're going to talk a lot about amp envelopes. So I really want to give that one its own sort of video, because the ADSR is something that you can apply to a lot of your production. So wanted to give that its own sort of video. So until next time, see you later.